Alright, beyond the blue RC. Got some hot racing shocks to install today on my Traxxas 4tec 3.0. Some nice looking blue anodized aluminum shocks from hot racing. Part number TR506M. Very cool. Let's get them out of the package. There we go. It's pretty stiff springs, actually. Nice. What else do we get in the package here? Get some white springs. I'm guessing these are probably softer spring. Some extra ball links. Another spring, 2 O-rings. On the website it said you can use the bladders from the stock shocks and have them set up like the stock ones, or you can use these O-rings and use the bladder screw, which is what I'm going to do. It's going to be a little trickier to bleed, but I'm going to use this setup. That's what I'm going to do. So yeah. Pretty cool. Alright, so I've got them all taken apart except for one, so they're ready to add oil. I'm going to kind of show you how to take these apart. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. So first thing you want to do is pop off this bottom piece here. Just pull it out and pop it off. Pull your spring out. There you go. That's all there is to that. Just make sure your ball moves freely. Alright. I did notice these are loose. This little bottom piece. Bottom piece is loose, so I tightened up all the other three. I'm going to have to tighten this one up too. It's kind of an odd size, so luckily I've got this little crescent wrench that I use for things like that. But before I do that, I want to remove this collar here, adjustment collar. Of course, this would be the only one that is now wanting to. Alright, now we can do it. I think. Let's do it this way. Here we go. And just pull this all the way off. Just makes things easier when you're putting the oil in. That way everything can be hand tight, except for that I want that to be a little more tight than hand tight. With your cap you just want to be hand tight, but it's a lot easier to tighten it down when you don't have all this stuff in the way. Alright, so there we go. Take that off, get that out of the way. Get all this out of the way. Alright. And you're going to remove this little screw. There we go. Put that out of the way. Okay. Now we want to tighten this down a bit. Not super tight, but you want to snug it up. Don't want any oil coming out of this thing. Alright, so good. Very handy tool to have. And you can take your cap off. Like so. There we go. There we go. And inside of your shock, you'll have a piston and a E-clip, and of course your shock shaft exposed there. There we go. And that's all there is to that. Yep. Okay. So now I did notice these actually do have bladders in them. So I'm guessing on the website they meant that they come with, you didn't have to use the, I thought you had to use the bladders that came with the stock Traxxas shocks, but I don't think you do, because these pop right out. So I'm thinking what they want you to do, or you could do, is then use this O-ring inside here, and then use this screw installed, not all the way tightened, but then loosen it slightly, and then it could be a bleeder valve, which is for that O-ring in there. But those are just finicky, so I think I'm going to stick with the bladder. I kind of like that better. If I can get this O-ring back out, that'd be nice. There we go. Alright, put the bladder back in. Like so. There we go. You want to be careful, be gentle, so when you're doing this, just kind of push it down. You don't want to tear the bladder, because that would not be good. Then you can just reset it by screwing this back in. Shock assembly. That. And just screw it all the way down. Like that. Then unscrew it. Get the big hands out of the way. There we go. Yep, it's all perfectly reset again. There you go. So that's how you set up your shocks so they're ready to take on oil. And I've got 50 and 60 weight Losi shock oil here. I think I'm going to go with 50. I think I'm going to go with 50 weight. So, I'm not going to do all these on camera. I will do one on camera. So, get started on this. Alright, so I filled up 3 of them. Now I'll fill up the last one. I'm going to fill it up a little bit at a time. And you kind of want to cycle it. Just kind of get the oil underneath that piston. Yep. And you put some more in now. Like I said, I am using 50 weight Losi shock oil. Alright, and you're going to want to cycle it some more. Yep. Then put some more oil in it. Cycle it some more. This is trying to get all the bubbles to go to the top. And then I'll fill this all the rest of the way up, a bit at a time. That's probably good. One more drop. Go. Then you want to cycle it. Move your piston all the way up. And then slowly bring it back down. And then just keep going like this. About halfway up. And you're just trying to get all them bubbles to come out to the surface. There we go. And then just put it on the rack over here. Got a dynamite shock building rack, which comes in really handy for doing this. So if you got a larger diameter shock, you can use these holes. If a smaller diameter shock, then you use these little slits, these little slots right here. So yeah, it's working out good. Alright, so I got 3 of them done with the caps on and bleeded. Now we'll do this one. So you're just going to screw the cap on, like so. And as you're screwing it, oil is going to come out of the top. So just wipe it as you go. More oil, just keep wiping it so it doesn't make too much of a mess. There we go. Keep on doing that. Go. It's a process. This is not my most, out of the various maintenance things you gotta do with RCs, this is probably one of my least favorite. It's okay, I don't really love it. Gluing tires is probably on the very, very bottom. There we go. And I'm just gonna give it a good torque here. And some more, last little bit will come out. Yep. There we go. And you're just gonna wipe the excess off. Now what you do is hold your finger over this hole gently, and you're just going to push this all the way up. Go, and then a bunch of oil came out. That's kind of how I've been doing it. Go, then I'll put my screw in. Go. And it should go all the way up and rebound like that. And that, of course, was off camera. It should go all the way up and then rebound like that. And you know you've done it right. Shouldn't hear any squishy noises. That's how you know you've done it right. Just wipe off the excess oil here. And then you can start putting your shocks together. Alright, so I built up 3 of them. There you go. Now I need to build up the last one. Do that on camera. So I actually noticed when I was pulling these adjustment collars off, they were a little snug. So I put a drop of oil around each one. Of course now I can't grab a hold of it. So I put a drop of oil around each one. Come on now. There we go. Put a drop of oil inside the O-ring that's in there. Just kind of went around, you know, just to lubricate it up a little bit, so it's not so stiff. So I'm hoping that'll be better. Well, I know it's better because it was better when I put the other ones on. So I'm just gonna slide it on there. That. There we go. And just screw it on. Out of the way. Okay, screw this on. Pretty easy. This O-ring is still a little snug, but they're nice, well-built shocks as far as I can tell so far. All right, so that's on there. All right, now what I'm going to do is just kind of dry my hands off, get the oil off my hands, and then just kind of get the oil off of this. Where I put the spring on and the bottom part. Now I'm just going to put the spring on. Pretty easy. Slide this in. Like so. Doing these things on camera is so much, makes it so much more difficult for some reason. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. So, then just make sure your holes are lined up, which they are. And that's it. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Now I gotta get him on the car. That's the next step. Put him on the car. Next thing you want to do, now that you got your shocks built, is remove the old stock shocks. Just like that. There you go. Stock shock off. as that. I'll do the rest off camera, and then we'll go from there. Alright, got both front shocks off, stock shocks. Now I'm going to, got one hot racing installed, now I'm going to install the other side. Get it started. There we go. Screw it on. There we go. Just loosely for now. Snug it up. Make sure it still swings free. You don't want to get it too tight. There we go. There we go. That's good. Alright, now we can get the bottom in. I've already started the screw, just have to finish screwing it in. So, slipped out. There we go. The front is in. I just got to take the back shocks off, which is easy. Rear is going to be easier than the front because there's nothing in my way. Front splitter's in the way up front, but not in the back. Nothing in the back that's going to be getting in my way here. There we go. One off. Let's take the other one off. Do that off camera though. Alright, we got one hot racing shock installed. I'll do the other one on camera. So, all right. Set this down for a second. All right. So you want to put it in the same hole the stock one came out of. Get it started. There we go. And we'll screw her in. Just like the front, I don't want to over tighten it. So just make sure as I'm tightening, that it still moves freely. Good. Perfect. Now the bottom's a little trickier. Try and line this up. Alright, let's see. There we go. Alright. There we go. Get it in Get it on film here. Get her started. Alright, got her started. And just screw her in. And that's it. They're both in. Alright, 4tec is done. All 4 shocks are on there. Looking pretty good. Running 4mm preload up front. And I'm running 3mm preload in the back. So, pretty good. And we'll see if I need to make adjustments after doing my first test run after changing the shocks out, but we'll see. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please like, subscribe, smash that notification bell, and keep on RCing out there.